Another game, another example of bullpen mismanagement from Clayton McCullough.
You are Locked On Marlins, your daily podcast on the Miami Marlins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Marlins. I'm your host, Jeremiah Geiger. I'm a diehard Marlins fan, and I've podcasted about the team for the last 4 seasons. You can find me on X at Jeremiah Geiger 2, and thank you for making Locked On Marlins your first listen of the day. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Don't forget to hit subscribe on the YouTube channel and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. Enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the USA. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. And on today's show, I'm going to talk about another prime example of Clayton McCullough making a bad decision regarding the bullpen at a crucial juncture in the game. In yesterday's game, the Guardians and the Marlins, it was the rubber match. The Marlins end up losing. Clayton McCullough had a big part in that. I'm also going to preview the Red Sox series this weekend and talk about what the Marlins could possibly do to shore up their bullpen. But let's start with yesterday's game. First off, really weird start to the beginning of the game. In the first inning, the Marlins put up 3 runs, and then the Guardians came right back and put up 3 runs. Very uncharacteristic to see Edward Cabrera struggle against a lineup that honestly isn't that good. It's not that strong. Cabrera's final line, 5 1/3, 7 hits, 5 earned runs. He walked 3 and struck out 6. He certainly wasn't at his best, but it was what happened after Cabrera left the game that really cost the Marlins a chance for the victory. So Cabrera leaves after 5 1/3. Lake Bacher comes into the game, pitches 2/3 of an inning, 2/3, gets out of it, gets a strikeout. 7 pitches, right? 7 pitches is all it took for him to clean up the 6th. Who comes into the 7th inning when the Marlins are down by a run? At that point, the score was 5-4. You're just 1 run away from tying this game, sending it to extras. Maybe you score a couple and you end up winning. Clayton McCullough brings in Valente Bellozo into a 1-run game. Bellozo promptly gives up 4 runs in the 7th, and that's it. That's all she wrote. The Guardians win 9-4. It's essentially punting a game. Bellozo is not a high-leverage reliever. Ronnie Enriquez was warming up in the bullpen. You could have brought in Enriquez. You could have left Lake Bacher in the game. 7 pitches. Is he really gassed after just 7 pitches? He's pitched multiple innings before. I remember earlier this season, Bacher threw 50 pitches in a game. But McCullough pulls him, puts in a long reliever who's fluctuated between AAA and the major leagues, has no business pitching in a 1-run game in the 7th inning, and the Marlins lose. Does Clayton McCullough think that the Marlins are still playing the Braves? Did anyone let him know that this was Cleveland? This wasn't Atlanta still? Because it's deja vu all over again, as the great Yogi Berra once said. You have to put in competitive pitchers, your best relievers, at crucial points in the game. Lake Bacher, you bring him in the 6th, good. No problem with that at all. But if you don't want to use Ronnie Enriquez in the 7th, you want to save him for the 8th inning or whatever, then throw Bacher again. But why are we switching to a low-leverage reliever? That's what I watched all series long in Atlanta. I watched Josh Simpson, Tyler Zuber, Valente Bellozo, all with 1-run deficits that you can overcome as a lineup. McCullough doesn't get it. he can't operate the bullpen to its full potential. And part of the reason for that is that when I say, bring in your high leverage guys, honestly, the Marlins don't have a lot of them. And they've been working overtime all season long. Ronnie Enriquez has pitched a ton. Anthony Bender, he's been used a lot. Bakker, I consider somebody that I'm comfortable with in a high leverage situation. Calvin Fauché, he's shaky. You can't rely upon him. But he's more of a high leverage option than Valente Bellozo is. So who is running this spreadsheet? What analytics are directly indicating to Clayton McCullough, hey, let's put in the Valente Bellozos of the world, the Tyler Zubers of the world, when we're down by a run? Because the eye test tells the complete opposite story. You have to give yourself a chance in order to climb back into the game and possibly win it. You have an opportunity to go win the series. You just won a day ago with Yuri on the hill. Your offense exploded. You run back the same exact lineup. You had 4 runs at that juncture in the game. And you just quit. It's essentially quitting and not giving yourself a chance to win. And that's what's most frustrating about it. So, of course, the Marlins lose. They're back to 5 games under 500. The momentum that I thought they would have after that explosion offensively a couple days ago, 13-4 blowout win, Jacob Marcy a career night, that's out the window. And now you're going to head to Boston to wrap up this road trip. And Boston's a really good team. It's not getting any easier. But for the life of me, I don't understand what McCullough is seeing as the manager. He's the leader. He's the skipper. He's the guy making the calls. And he's blowing them. Game in and game out. That's what happened in Atlanta. You don't give yourself a chance to win the game when you put George Soriano in, when you put Tyler Zuber, when you put Valente Bellozo. And with all due respect to these guys, they made the major leagues. But on any other competitive team, they're not pitching in that situation. It's not happening. And so the fact that it's happened not once, not twice, but multiple times throughout multiple series leads me to believe that there's some sort of analytical model when it comes to these particular situations down by a run that McCullough is following to a T. And he just clicks the button. Yes, we're doing this. There's no reasoning. There's no thinking behind it. There's no considering what I'm watching. And I have Ronnie Enriquez in the bullpen. Maybe I should put him in the game. Or maybe Lake Bakker just got out of the 6th inning with only throwing 7 pitches. Maybe I should just leave him in the game. There's none of that. And I'm fed up. I'm fed up with this decision making because it's costing the Marlins opportunities to win games. But this is how his managerial style is. It's incredibly frustrating. And it doesn't get any easier. In the next segment, I'm going to preview this weekend series against the Red Sox and explain why this is going to be a really tough one for the Fish. That's coming up right after this. And this episode is not brought to you by Monarch Money. It's brought to you by 5-Hour Energy first. It's time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. It's perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the golf course or you just need a little extra push to power through your day, 5-Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. I am not a golfer, full transparency. I do want to hit the course one of these days and just see how I fare. It could be a struggle though for me, but for those golfers who love going out to the course, the grape ginger lime flavor of 5-Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the beverage cart. And now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the USA. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. I appreciate all the everyday listeners who make listening to Locked On Marlins part of their daily routine. 41 games away till the end of the season. It's been a fun ride. Let's keep going. And the Marlins will keep going with this series against the Red Sox. And what concerns me the most about this series isn't the fact that the Red Sox are a good team, because they are. They're 10 games over 500 rather. Their offense is really good. It's the pitching matchups. I'm looking at the pitching matchups compared to, with the Marlins. Friday, you have Sandy Alcantara versus Lucas Giolito. Saturday is Brian Bello versus Cal Quantrill. And on Sunday's game, wrapping up the 3-game set, you have the Red Sox ace and Cy Young contender Garrett Crochet versus Jansen Junk. That doesn't strike any confidence in me. I have zero confidence against these pitchers and the pitchers that the Marlins are going to be rolling out there. And that's just how the schedule ended up. Sometimes you get lucky. Like when the Marlins faced the Brewers a few weeks ago, and then they faced them twice, you missed Jacob Mizorowski both times. But this time, you don't get as lucky. And now you're going to face Crochet. You're going to face Bello. You're going to face Giolito. Bello is no slouch. I remember in that 2023 season, the last time the Marlins went up to face the Boston Red Sox, that was Bello's, coming out party. That was the first year in which he really got himself going. He pitched 28 games that season. So 157 innings that year. This year is career best in ERA, 3.25 across 20 starts, 121 innings. Lucas Giolito, he's had a career renaissance here in Boston on the season. 18 starts, 3.77 ERA, over 103rd innings. These guys are good. And the Marlins, you're coming off of a series in which you faced decent Guardians pitchers. Tanner Bybee, Gavin Williams, Logan Allen. They're not slouches, but this is the next level. Giolito, Bello, Crochet, all of them have the capability to go 7, 8, 9 innings. One thing the Red Sox do with their starters, they give them the ability to pitch deep into ball games. And of course, that's a given with your ace, Garrett Crochet. Garrett Crochet can shut down a lineup. He can throw a no-hitter, a perfect game. It wouldn't surprise me. But with Bello, with Giolito, those are workhorses. In fact, you have Giolito just 2 starts ago. He faced the Houston Astros. He went 8 innings, 1 run, no walks, or 1 walk rather. And then it was up and down. He faced San Diego on the road, struggled a little bit. So there's that element in which if you attack him early, he could falter. You can get him out of the game. Red Sox, they still got our oldest Chapman in the back half of their bullpen. However old he is now, he's still pumping gas. This is a good team, and it's a good lineup. So for the Marlins, their pitchers, Sandy, here's another opportunity against a good team to prove that you have something left in the tank, at least for 2025. Or we should just tie a bow on this, accept it for what it is, and hope that it gets better in 2026. Because it's been a disaster of a year for Sandy. There was a couple starts right before the deadline in which he turned back the clock. but you're pitching in Boston. You have that green monster. You're facing guys like Alex Bregman, Ceddanne Rafaela, Roman Anthony, who is the top prospect in baseball. It's a good lineup. On the season, the Red Sox have the third most runs scored in baseball. They're 10th in home runs. They know how to hit. So with Sandy, it's make or break time, really. I mean, it's just prove what you got. Do you have anything left? What I think is interesting is the second matchup in this game, or in this series rather, when you have Cal Quantrill on the mound, because I think this is a great opportunity for Cal Quantrill to solidify his spot in the rotation, at least for now. Because if he falters, then there's a real argument for Robbie Snelling to get called up. Because then you're going to have Cal Quantrill's last 3 starts, including this Boston one. The 2 before it, 7 earned runs in Houston, 47 pitches in Atlanta. That's not really a pitcher that I want to see in the rotation. So if he can't complete 5-6 innings in this one, if he has another disaster like he had in Houston, then there should be a real conversation of calling up Robbie Snelling, who just struck out 9 over 6 innings in AAA the other day. He's major league ready right now. There's just no opening. The other potential opening would be Jansen Junk's spot in the rotation. And that's a conversation that we would have to have as well if he struggles on Sunday. So for Sandy and for Quantrill and Junk, this is a big series. And hopefully they get some run support behind them, because the Red Sox are going to put up some runs. You know, the Guardians series I felt pretty good about because we had our 2 best starters, Yuri and Cabrera. And both pitchers didn't pitch to their full potential. You only won 1 game, the middle game, in which the offense got 13 runs. Chances of that happening again, probably pretty slim. Red Sox, though, they're a force to be reckoned with. But it's make it or break it time for Sandy. See if you have anything left in the tank, or if you're just running on fumes, you know, and you were just going to hobble to the finish line. But for Quantrill and Junk, they got to prove it, because Snelling's waiting to take one of their spots. I lean towards Quantrill's spot because Quantrill is essentially a rental for the rest of the season. You're paying his salary. It was $3.5 million. You could put him on waivers and he might be picked up by another team. He might not, with a chance to pitch in the postseason. Who would want him to pitch in the postseason? I don't know. But you're not keeping him beyond this year. So essentially, you kept him in the rotation at the deadline because nobody wanted him, number one. And number two, he provided innings. But if he's not going to give you innings and he's just going 4 innings and getting blown up every time, then what's the point? Bring in Snelling. Because that's where I am right now. I want to see Snelling pitch in a Marlins uniform by now. Nothing left to nothing left to prove in AAA. The Marlins need to shore up the bullpen, and there's a couple of names in AAA who I'd like to see get a shot in the majors. Look, Clayton McCullough has made bad bullpen decisions, bringing in guys at bad times, but he's also handcuffed to a degree because of the quality of talent in the pen. There's a couple guys I think can help fix that. That's coming up right after this. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. There's the Monarch Money segment. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. And that's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. I know sometimes there's subscriptions that just add up and you forgot you subscribe to them, whether that's like multiple streaming platforms. Monarch Money is going to notice that. They're going to spot that and then cancel them. It'll save you money every month. Don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for 50% off your first year. That's half off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. But remember that Locked On Marlins is on all the major podcast platforms out there. You can listen to the show wherever you are. The Marlins bullpen, they're in a talent deficit, like a calorie deficit. They don't have the talent to consistently give Clayton McCullough good rotating options in late innings. Although there's no excuse for bringing Valente Bellozo into a one-run game when you have Bacher at 7 pitches and Enriquez warming up in the pen. You're still going to have options that aren't optimal. Bellozo being in the game is a bad decision by McCullough, but it's also indicative of the Marlins being in a position of who else do we have without rotating the same guys over and over and over and running them into the ground. And so there's a couple of guys in AAA who I believe deserve to be called up to the 40-man, to the 26-man, and get a shot in the majors. So if I'm looking at the Marlins 40-man roster, there's a couple of pitchers that just kind of stand out there as not deserving to be on the 40-man. They're not actively contributing. They can be replaced. George Soriano and Michael Peterson. I don't see why those guys have to stay on the 40-man at all. You're not going to feel bad about it if you DFA them. Two pitchers I want to see get called up from AAA, Christian Roa and Josh White. I'm going to start with Christian Roa. He's a big right-hander, 6'4", 220 pounds at just 26 years old. On the season in AAA, through 49 innings, 41 games, he has an ERA of 2.94, 49 strikeouts, a whip of 1.16. Way better than his season last year in the Reds organization. The Marlins acquired Christian Roa off of waivers from the Reds last offseason. Last year in AAA Louisville, 5.55 ERA, a whip of 1.75. Wasn't very good, but the Marlins saw something in him. They took a chance, and he's pitched in AAA all season long. And I think at this juncture in the season, it's time for him to get a chance. He throws hard. He averages 95, 96 on the fastball. He can rear back and get a couple extra ticks. He's got a good slider for swing and misses to get those whiffs. And I don't think it would hurt the Marlins to give him an opportunity, because this season, if you really think about it, is all about opportunity. And it's what's led the Marlins to the success that they've had. Kyle Stowers got an opportunity, all-star. Augustine Ramirez got his opportunity, took it and ran with it. We're having conversations now about Graham Pauley being the third baseman, the everyday third baseman for 2026 because of opportunity. So the 40-man roster, that's not a problem. The 26-man roster, that's simple too. Take out Tyler Zuber and Josh Simpson. Put in Christian Roa. Put in Josh White. Josh White is a righty, 6'1", 205 pounds, 24 years old. He is having an incredible season. A 1.89 ERA, 52 and a third innings, 84 strikeouts, and that's across AA and AAA. If you want to go just based off of AAA, he's still really, really good. 2.63 ERA, 24 innings, 34 strikeouts, just 8 walks, and a whip of an even 1.00. Those are two options that the Marlins can call up, replace guys who are struggling. Simpson, Tyler Zuber, sorry, see ya, bye. We're going to give Josh White an opportunity. We're going to give Christian Roa a shot. The 40-man roster, kind of the same thing. I mean, you can DFA Simpson if you want, get him off the 40-man. There's a lot of different options you can go with. But, like, I'm looking at this 40-man roster. Peterson, Soriano, Zuber. Like, all those guys could be DFA'd, and I wouldn't blink an eye. If you want to keep a lefty in the bullpen, and I know that's been a death knell for the Marlins all season, is they just don't have a talented lefty. When Andrew Nardi got hurt and he's missed the entire season, then there was no real lefty they could rely on. They had Anthony Veneziano for a little bit. He's since been DFA'd. He's now with the Cardinals organization. Cade Gibson was actually okay. Josh Simpson has been overwhelmed at this level. But I wouldn't mind Cade Gibson returning to the major leagues if it means Christian Roa and Josh White get an opportunity and replace Zuber and Simpson. So you would essentially have to replace 3 guys in the bullpen, and that can happen. You might even have to replace Valente Bellozo, because if you're using him as a long relief guy, that's one thing. But if you're using him as a long reliever and in leverage situations, high leverage situations, because you don't want to go with your other options, you don't have the extensive variety of options, then you could move Bellozo back down. There's a lot of different ways you can go about this. But it's time for White to get a chance, and I think it's time for Christian Roa to get a chance too. Really good season. You see the development that he's had in the Marlins organization. I mean, he wasn't a flashy acquisition in the offseason by any means. Like I said, 5.55 ERA in AAA with a different org, with the Reds. But the Marlins pitching development from top to bottom, I feel very confident in, especially when it comes to just coaching up and developing talent. If they see a metric, if they see a part of your game that they like, they can take that and enhance your entire arsenal, enhance your delivery, just work with you and be flexible to get you to the next level of your potential. That's one strength that the Marlins really have, and it's been a strength for a while now. The Marlins are somewhat, honestly, of a pitching factory. Look at the starters they have. The starters, you have Thomas White, Robbie Snelling in the minors. On the injured list, Ryan Weathers, who's really, really good. He'll be coming back. Braxton Garrett. Remember that name? Braxton Garrett is somebody that's just been out recovering, rehabbing from Tommy John surgery, had an awesome 2023 breakout season. He was a former first-round pick. So when it comes to the bullpen, you see the acquisitions that Peter Bendix has made. Ronnie Enriquez, Lake Bacher. You know, a few seasons ago, Anthony Bender, he came out of independent ball. Bullpen pieces are replaceable. They're interchangeable. You don't have to rock with the same bullpen 25-8 and just expect the same results, because you have a manager that, number one, doesn't know how to operate a bullpen at its best. And number two, you're still leaving meat on the bone if you leave guys like Josh White in the minors the rest of the season and you're rolling out Tyler Zuber. I mean, George Soriano, I mean, he's since been sent down to AAA, thank goodness. but he got another opportunity before Josh White did. That doesn't make any sense. Bring up these guys, let everybody see what they got. Big series this weekend against the Red Sox. I'm hoping we can win the series. I mean, finish this road trip on a positive note. It's been a miserable road trip. 4 out of 5 to Atlanta. Lost 2 out of 3 to Cleveland. And now it's tough sledding against this Boston team. But we'll see what happens. It starts with Sandy Alcantara versus Lucas Giolito. Please, Sandy, turn back the clock. Show me something. We'll see what happens. That's going to do it for today's edition of Locked On Marlins. I appreciate you guys for listening. And until next time, stay safe, stay locked on, and let's go fish.